You ever wonder how Pearl Krabs manages to afford her expensive shopping sprees while her dad treats every penny like it's his firstborn? And before you say that Mr. Krabs treats his daughter like a princess, I want to remind you that Mr. Krabs got his daughter a $30 bed when she was a newborn, and she has been using it ever since.
I paid $30 for that bed!
So, did Pearl secretly inherit millions from her mother, or is she just living off her dad's tight-fisted generosity? First things first, we aren't talking about an ordinary teenager. For starters, she's a literal whale, which already makes her stand out in a town full of fish, crustaceans, and one eternally optimistic sponge. She's 16 years old, still in high school, and rocking that classic teenage vibe of eye rolls, high-pitched squeals, and an insatiable appetite for shopping at the Bikini Bottom Mall. Seriously, if there's a clearance sale, you can bet Pearl is there faster than SpongeBob flipping a Krabby Patty. But she's also Mr. Krabs' daughter, and let's be honest, that's a relationship that raises more questions than it answers. Why don't we know anything about her mother? And how did Mr. Krabs end up marrying a whale? The show never says, which only adds to Pearl's mystique. What we do know is that Mr. Krabs treats her like royalty, or at least he tries to, when it doesn't involve spending money. If you remember the Whale of a Birthday episode, Mr. Krabs threw her a party in the Krusty Krab, complete with dollar store decorations and a barely functional jukebox. Not exactly luxury living, but it's the thought that counts, right? Now, despite her larger-than-life appearance, literally, Pearl has pretty typical teenage goals. She wants to fit in, be popular, and one day maybe even take over the family business. Yes, Mr. Krabs actually expects Pearl to inherit the Krusty Krab. But before Pearl inherits the Krusty Krab empire, she's got to rely on something a little less glamorous: her teenage job. Let's see how far that takes her. Let's start with Pearl's actual job. Yes, she has one. In the episode Mall Girl Pearl, we see her working as a cashier at Grandma's Apron, a store at the Bikini Bottom Mall. It's a small gig, but hey, it's something. Now, let's do some undersea math. In the real world, a mall cashier typically earns around $10 to $15 per hour. If we assume Bikini Bottom's economy runs similarly, Pearl's hourly wage might be around $12. If she works part-time, say 20 hours a week, like most teenagers, that adds up to $240 a week. Over a month, that's around $960. It's not exactly buy your own whale-sized mansion money, but it's decent pocket change for a high schooler. But it doesn't stop there. Pearl also has the occasional side hustle at the Krusty Krab. When Mr. Krabs isn't around, or when SpongeBob is busy chasing jellyfish, Pearl steps in to manage the restaurant. Let's estimate she works 30 days a year, earning $100 a day for her time, which is a generous assumption given the kind of a person her dad is. I mean, we all know those kids who work at their parents' companies. They don't always get paid fairly. This means she earns around $3,000 from working at the Krusty Krab. But let's be real, Pearl's not trading pom-poms for spreadsheets anytime soon. Plus, Pearl's income isn't just about her job. I mean, we cannot ignore the Mr. Krabs factor. Pearl is the poster whale for living large, literally and financially. As much as Mr. Krabs pinches his pennies, his daughter has him wrapped around her flipper. Let's break this down. Pearl's shopping habits are legendary in Bikini Bottom, and by the looks of it, she doesn't just shop, she splurges. She buys designer handbags, goes for premium mall clothes, and the latest undersea trends, and we can definitely say that Pearl's spending easily matches that of a high-maintenance human teenager. To estimate her spending, let's break it down. She is hitting upscale stores at the mall, and let's assume that in one shopping spree, she will buy a few outfits. They will cost her around $100. She also needs a designer bag, which is another $100 to $150. And let's not forget accessories like shoes and jewelry. We can add in another $50. So a typical shopping spree for Pearl might cost around $300, considering she's a regular at upscale stores. If she does this once a month, that's already $3,600 a year just on shopping. Add in smaller expenses like snacks, cheerleading gear, and the occasional splurge, and she could easily spend another $1,200 annually. And what about her social life? Pearl loves hosting parties, which aren't cheap. Her 16th birthday is a prime example. She wanted a grand bash with live music and fancy gifts, but Mr. Krabs' budget version probably still cost at least $1,000. If she throws a couple of smaller parties a year, that's another $500 gone. And Mr. Krabs' "don't disappoint my daughter" philosophy effectively turns him into her personal, albeit reluctant, ATM. If we estimate her monthly expenses for all those totally coral purchases, we're probably looking at a casual $1,000 to $2,000 in indirect income just from Daddy Krabs' wallet. Cha-ching! And with her constant requests for money, we can assume Mr. Krabs forks over at least another $1,500 a month to cover her lifestyle. And that's not even counting the special occasions like her birthday or the parties she attends. This means she is at least getting $3,000 from Mr. Krabs per month, or $36,000 annually. Pretty decent for a 16-year-old, but we still have to factor in her hidden talents and her mysterious mother, and much more. Turns out Pearl isn't just a big spender with a loud voice. She's also got some serious skills that could turn into major moneymakers. As the head cheerleader for Bikini Bottom High, Pearl has perfected the art of commanding attention. Cheerleading might seem like just fun and flips, but it's a billion-dollar industry on the surface. If Pearl capitalized on this talent, she could easily charge $50 to $100 per hour as a private cheerleading coach, which means she could easily be adding another $5,000 to $10,000 a year on the side. But wait, Pearl's vocal power is legendary. With proper training, she could become a professional singer or even try out voice acting. Bikini Bottom's entertainment industry might not rival Hollywood, but a successful underwater pop star could easily earn $100,000 to $250,000 annually from gigs, merchandising, and album sales. And given her charisma, Pearl could quickly rise to stardom. Then there's her social clout. I like to think that Pearl is a natural influencer. I mean, Pearl spends plenty of time on her phone. It's easy to imagine her turning that into serious influencer potential. And I know you can't become an influencer while using this corded telephone, but once Pearl is on her own, she will definitely buy the latest iPhone. Now, if she leveraged her popularity, she could easily partner with undersea brands. Let's estimate she'd charge $1,000 per sponsored post, which could lead to $50,000 to $75,000 a year in passive income just from her mall selfies and trend-setting posts. I know she is currently more focused on fun than finances, but her hidden talent suggests that she is making a few $100,000 annually on the side. And now, let's address the giant whale in the room, Pearl's origins. Mr. Krabs is, well, a crab. So how did he end up with a whale for a daughter? You might say that she was adopted, but the show has clearly told that Mr. Krabs is her biological father. But it's Mr. Krabs' wife who remains a mystery. She was obviously a whale. Otherwise, how would Mr. Krabs' daughter be a whale? And given the fact that Mr. Krabs is really greedy, it won't be far-fetched to say that Pearl's mother was probably very wealthy and Mr. Krabs married her for her money. If she was actually wealthy, she probably left a substantial inheritance for Pearl. If this is true, Pearl's wealth isn't just about Mr. Krabs' penny-pinching empire. She might already have a trust fund worth $500,000 to $1 million, quietly growing in value while she spends her teen years at the mall. And if she was rich, there is a possibility that she was a major player in Bikini Bottom's high society. I imagine her as a glamorous, well-connected whale who moved in elite circles. This would mean that she left Pearl not just wealth, but an impressive social network. It would explain why Pearl's tastes lean toward the finer things. She's living up to the high standards set by her mom. This also explains why Mr. Krabs might indulge Pearl despite his tight-fisted ways. If Pearl's mom left a significant inheritance, Mr. Krabs could be managing it on Pearl's behalf. Maybe it's even guilt. Perhaps Pearl's mom passed away under tragic circumstances, and Mr. Krabs compensates by giving Pearl whatever she wants, within reason. Her mother's high society background might also explain Pearl's popularity at school and her knack for commanding attention. After all, if she's the daughter of an undersea aristocrat, it's only natural that she'd carry herself with a certain flair. Another possibility is that Mr. Krabs needs Pearl's inheritance to keep the Krusty Krab afloat. The idea that the restaurant might be partially funded by Pearl's mom's wealth adds a layer of complexity to their relationship. Maybe Mr. Krabs knows that without Pearl's backing, the Krusty Krab would sink faster than SpongeBob on a jellyfishing trip. And since we are talking about inheritance, we definitely know that she is the future heir to the Krusty Krab empire, whether Mr. Krabs built the restaurant on his own or took financial help from his wife. If you think inheriting a burger joint isn't a big deal, think again. The Krusty Krab is a cash cow in Bikini Bottom. According to fan theories and some clever calculations, the restaurant earns an estimated $2 million annually in revenue. Now, factor in Mr. Krabs' notoriously low expenses, and the net profit margin could be as high as 50%. That's $1 million in profit every year. If Pearl inherits the business, she might take a very different approach. She's not exactly known for her frugality, and there's a good chance she could modernize the Krusty Krab with whale-sized upgrades. I am thinking of things like trendy menu additions such as seaweed lattes or premium kelp salads. With the right marketing, the Krusty Krab's revenue could skyrocket to $1.5 million annually. And let's not forget the real estate value. The Krusty Krab is prime beachfront property, even underwater. If we factor in the land's worth and its potential for expansion, Pearl's inheritance could easily total $3 to $5 million. That's without even counting her eventual equity in the brand's legacy. I mean, Mr. Krabs could franchise the Krusty Krab before retiring to his treasure chest. And maybe Pearl is already a silent partner in the Krabby Patty empire and is earning money from Krabby Patty's secret formula. Think about it, what if Mr. Krabs is setting aside part of the Krusty Krab's income for Pearl? Maybe her mother insisted on it as part of an inheritance deal. Or perhaps Mr. Krabs wants to ensure Pearl has a financial safety net in case she decides not to take over the Krusty Krab. And she might not even realize she's benefiting from the Krabby Patty secret formula. After all, Mr. Krabs is the kind of dad who could siphon off profits for her without saying a word, framing it as fatherly generosity. Alright, let's tally up Pearl's actual and potential wealth. Here are the details of her current income. Mall job, $11,520. Part-time job at the Krusty Krab, $3,000. Allowance, $36,000. And what about her actual earning potential? Well, it looks like this. Cheerleading coaching, $5,000 to $10,000. Influencing potential, $50,000 to $75,000. Singing or voice acting, $100,000 to $250,000. She's also going to inherit a few $1 million. Inheritance from mom, $500,000 to $1 million. The Krusty Krab and real estate, $3 to $5 million. Taking all of this into account, Pearl's future net worth could easily surpass $5 to $7 million, factoring in business profits, real estate, and her inheritance. And that's not even considering her untapped talents in entertainment or future entrepreneurial pursuits. So, for now, it seems Pearl is balancing her income and expenses with a little help from her dad, but her financial future might just be as unpredictable as Bikini Bottom itself. But speaking of finances, what about Mr. Krabs? How does a single crustacean manage to hoard so much money while running a fast food joint? If you're ready to discover the secrets of Mr. Krabs' treasure chest, click the on-screen video and find out.